Because you'll have more confidence, your self-talk will improve, right? But are you willing to alter your reality like this to where you don't view the world the same as other people? You can see through a lot of stuff. You can see through marketing and advertising, right? You can see through people's little petty manipulations, right? You can catch people in a lie. I'm talking like that level. 12 years of cold calling knowledge. Let's jump right in, right? How do they think? You know, something that, again, you're not really going to get into until later on, because in the beginning you're so nervous and you're just trying to learn the ropes, is how does a customer think? When they pick up the phone, how do they perceive me, right? How do they think about my product or service? What is their thought process? Where are they getting their information from? All these are very important questions that you guys have to consider, understand, and master if you want to master cold calling or be very, very good at it. Why? Because then you cater your pitch towards how they think. One of the techniques that I use from NLP is called a mind reading technique. When I say something like, I'm sure you're wondering ... right? You're thinking ... right? Because then when it confirms what they're thinking, it subconsciously builds rapport and it puts me at a different level because it activates in their mind, hey, he knows what I'm thinking about. He knows what I'm talking about, right? He understands me. Now that's a little bit more advanced for the newbies. However, when you get to advanced scripting and dialogues and cold calling, that's the type of stuff that you do to influence people on a subconscious level, move the conversation forward, and keep them readily engaged. People want to know that you're sharp. And a lot of this stuff is, again, out of the ordinary for people who don't really study it or do a deep dive because it's just so out there for them, or the average person, right, especially getting into sales, doesn't even really talk to strangers much. So it's a very difficult thing for them to wrap their head around, all right? But how do they think? Make sure that you're taking your time and effort to think. As an example, right, I'm in real estate, and I know as just a general rule of thumb, if somebody's going to sell their house and then purchase another one, their initial thought process is, well, before I do anything, I need to go find the house that I like and submit an offer on it. Then we're going to get everything ready with my house and then sell it. When in reality, it's the opposite. Because if we go, again, they don't know. If we go and we submit an offer on their property and there's 2 or 3 offers on the property, there are offers at the bottom because their home isn't even listed or under contract or closed, and they need those funds to transfer into the new one. So as a buyer, they're weak and they're in a disadvantageous position. So I need to know this, being an expert in real estate, so that when I have the conversation with them, I have to be able to speak around that subject, set up the meeting, and then lay it out for them so they get it, and then they abide by the proper process. Rookie salespeople are people who aren't good. They fight with them, they create friction and tension in the conversation, and that's a problem, okay? So how do they think? That's a big one. If you guys can really get into that and master that more, your cold calling will skyrocket like crazy, all right? Number 2, it's counterintuitive. A lot of the stuff that I teach that works, a lot of the stuff that I do, that I've experimented with, is counterintuitive. Meaning, if I was to tell somebody what I do, how I go about selling, how I do things, the average person's gonna say, that sounds dumb, or that's not gonna work, or no way that technique is gonna work, when it does, because it's counterintuitive, right? Now, from your standpoint, the reason I'm bringing that up is a lot of people entering the cold calling field or into sales will see this stuff, read a script, listen to a technique or something that I'm teaching, and because they don't know about it yet and they haven't done it, they will automatically discount it or say no way. And if you don't believe that something's gonna work, are you gonna do it? If you don't believe that cold calling is gonna work, are you gonna do it or have success? If you don't believe the technique that I'm teaching you is gonna work, is it going to? So these are things that people, again, need to empty their cup and come in and say, you know what, I'm gonna be a sponge and just absorb. So even if my logic tells me, wait, this doesn't work, you need to understand you're maybe not that well versed yet at communication. You don't understand it as extensively as maybe your teacher, right? Because if I'm teaching you, right, I have over a decade of experience, experimentation, right? Neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, conversational hypnosis, right? Like all kinds of stuff that I've studied, gotten certified in, been to events. So I get this stuff, and in real time, I've sold to thousands and thousands of people, right? And I've been teaching for many years now. So again, if somebody comes in day one, I know that it's gonna seem like a lot or be like, whoa, it's a brand new world for them, right? Just like it was for me 12 years ago when I started. So understand that it's counterintuitive, and even if, again, at first glance and first look, you think, man, this isn't gonna work, that you at least give it a try and say, you know what? I'm going to act as if, I'm gonna assume that this works and it's correct, and I'm gonna run with it. If you take that attitude of being open-minded, it will help you. Especially, I know, can't speak for everybody, but especially with what I teach, it's always based on honesty, high level of ethics. We're not gonna screw people over. We're only selling things to people that we know are interested in the product. If they're not, we qualify them out and we let them go and we leave them alone, because we're not here to waste people's time. We're not here to waste your time. We're here to sell efficiently and at the highest level possible. Okay, so that's the first two. Let's continue. The mastery of repetition. What I mean by the mastery of repetition is when you first start cold calling, even if you consider yourself natural or a quick learner, it's still hard. It's a steep learning curve, right? You're gonna deal with a lot of rejection, and it's boring and monotonous to sit there and cold call over and over and over and over. It is. So the acceptance, knowing that, hey, I'm gonna have to commit to this. I'm gonna have to commit to it for a long time. It's gonna be boring. It's gonna be repetitive. But at the end is the development of my character, right? That income that I want, advancement in my career, a skill set that's gonna be unique, which we'll talk more about later too, right? That's what needs to be in your head. Because at the end of the day, this gives you the ultimate control. Being an entrepreneur is awesome. Being able to sell is amazing and one of the highest paid skills, in my eyes, that's possible. It opens up the door for you to make crazy amounts of income. Barring, right, and the only other circumstances that you can do it, that it's that accessible to make high amounts of money, would be like acting or an athlete or something like that, right? You're on TV, you do commercials, you do some sort of acting, or you do sports at a very, very high level. Those people have access to that celebrity level of income. Sales can get you there or get you at least knocking on that door. Because there's all kinds of sales. There's commission sales, right? I'm not talking about salary. I'm talking about commission or running your own business, where you either hire the sales team, but first you're probably gonna be the one selling before you hire the sales team, just like I did, right? So understand that mastery of repetition equals that. It may be a temporary sacrifice for a huge gain. And in that process, you're gonna stumble, fall, scrape your elbow, right? Put a Band-Aid on. It's gonna be one of those things that it's gonna be rough. There's a lot of speed bumps, a lot of challenges, and a lot of hurdles. And the biggest issue that I see with salespeople in general is their own mind. That's really what gets in the way. It's not physically or mentally difficult to pick up the phone and call or go door to door or any other lead generation, right? What makes it hard is the lack of discipline, the lack of control of your emotional state, and the lack of the ability to keep your head focused on what it is and deal with the temporary discomforts and the boredom of that repetition. If you can learn to do that, you'll be money. Okay, let's continue. Number 4, cold calling and sales in general. Like if you do a lot of, in-person selling, door-to-door, cold calling, it will absolutely alter your reality. Absolutely alter your reality. You will not view the world and people the same after really getting into sales. You will have a level of personal development that will be open to you and forced upon you that you would otherwise not have done probably. You will be forced to do one of the most scary and intimidating things to most human beings, which is, again, exposing yourself to rejection. What's the fear, right? Death and public speaking, the top 2 fears, right? Why is it public speaking? It's because you have the eyeballs, attention, and criticism of the crowd and the people observing. And this will force you to do that because you're willingly stepping into the lines then. You're actively going out of your way to interrupt somebody's day, technically, to talk to them about selling or them buying your product or service. It's crazy, right? Because outside of getting a sales job where I would make you, let's say I hired you and I said, hey, you got to pick up the phone every day now to make your paycheck. Outside of that, when would you willingly cold call or go door to door and do some of this crazy stuff that we're talking about, right? So understand that it will alter your reality. You'll view relationships differently, friendships differently. You'll view people differently. You'll look at communication, especially if you really become like a stone cold, diehard student. Everything about your world will change. Your self-talk will absolutely revolutionize. You will build a tremendous amount of confidence. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll be able to get your point across better. Your relationships and friendships will improve. It absolutely will change everything about your reality. Now, there's the next step, which comes with it, right? Which could be a double-edged sword depending on the person that you're talking to. But you need to understand that jumping full-fledged 100% into this world, you need to accept that if you want to take it to the top and be very, very good, it will, by virtue of doing that, alter your reality. You can't stay normal and be that top dog. It's just not gonna happen. All right, and the last one is the path chosen by few. The deeper and farther you go on this path, you'll have less people with you. That top ring, top of the ladder of success, of sales, right? And the reason I'm saying that, I'm not talking about money here. I'm talking about your dedication to something, right? How your mindset will shift, your level of intelligence and focus, where now when you look around you, there will be very few people who exhibit that type of grit, discipline, follow through, consistency, persistence, that you'll consider your colleagues. You may still have friends and acquaintances for sure. You will. Like I could open up my phone book. If I had a party at my house, I could invite 1 million people here. But close friends, 1 or 2 hands. 1 or 2 hands. But it's because now the way that I live my life, how I view the world and the actions that I take, right? I'm not going to be spending time with people who aren't on this path. And by virtue of it having less people, by association, you're going to have less people around you that you break bread with on that level. Because remember what I told you in the previous point, you're not going to have that normal life. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and many people may be thinking, wow, like he's taking it to this level. I thought we were just going to talk about like the regular sales stuff, but this is the stuff that people don't talk about, don't realize, or don't really know, because very few people are taking it to this end path that I'm discussing here. I'm speaking to you from the end of that path. Well, I don't know if it's the end, right? I'm still going myself, because I'm always going to be forever a student to the game. But you need to understand, are you willing to accept these things that I'm talking about here, right? Because you'll have more confidence, your self-talk will improve, right? But are you willing to alter your reality like this to where you don't view the world the same as other people? You can see through a lot of stuff. You can see through marketing and advertising, right? You can see through people's little petty manipulations, right? You can catch people in a lie. I'm talking like that level. Are you willing to deal with that and have that knowledge and ability to be able to wield like a sword, right? Same thing with the path chosen by few. Do you want to have that life where you just drink and aimlessly spend your time with a ton of people, right? Just talking about sports and everyday stuff. If that's what you want to do most of the time, then I wouldn't recommend this path to you. If you want more enlightenment, more reading, a different type of life that's not advertised or labeled as cool, then this would be for you. But again, you have to accept these things, y'all, because you can't have both. Same thing with this. Getting into somebody's mind and how they think. That freaks people out, some people, right? Number 2, it's counterintuitive. Meaning, everything you do, everything you say, everyone's going to question, just like they did with me. They're going to do the same thing with you. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for people to challenge your goals and tell you it's impossible and this and that and that you're crazy? You better be ready for it, right? And lastly, the mastery of repetition. It's boring. Was it exciting for Kobe Bryant to bust his ass like he did? No, but look, he became one of the greatest basketball players ever to live. A legend. Rest in peace. I even have a Kobe tattoo on the back of my arm. But everything that he did, he enjoyed it, sure. But those tasks of shooting 1,000 free throws and all that, it is boring. I've done it. I went pretty far in basketball too. Obviously not as well as Kobe and as far as Kobe, but you get the point. So understand these things, guys. This is just some knowledge I can impart to you. Now, those of you who are here at the end of the video, if you want access to more free resources, I put them all in the description. I'm also going to leave a comment and pin it. You can also comment sales. I have a general kind of free sales crash course where I talk about some of these things more in the sales context to help you out. Definitely check it out. I would recommend that you check out my website. I do offer a ton of stuff. Those of you seeking more knowledge, coaching, training, or you just want a standalone course, I have all that stuff on my website. All right, leave a thumbs up, help us out here on the algorithm, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, peace.